Yes, I Am My Father's Daughter is a book written by Elizabeth Mokamba. This book, going as per her own words, and to quote she's saying, "Yes, I Am My Father's Daughter is a heartbreaking story about being lost in a world that is supposed to embrace you and wondering if you will ever be freed from your own worst enemy, yourself." End of quote. In our 15-part series of reviewing the book with the author herself, dear viewer, I'm kindly asking you to come with us to the end, and I hope that at the end of chapter 15, we will have learned a thing or two that will help our families be better off than it was yesterday and today.
My name is Elizabeth Mokamba. I am the author of the book, Yes, I Am My Father's Daughter. The book is basically my life story. So that's that. And that's why we are trying to go through it with you so that you can get some of the things that I was talking about or I am talking about in this book. So welcome, feel at home, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. All right.
We want to appreciate all of you who have already subscribed and turned on the notification bell so that whenever we drop a video, you are always the first people to watch. We appreciate you and thanks for the continuous support. So, chapter 3 is talking about the struggle to be me.
Yes.
So, can you a little bit tell us what does it mean by the struggle to be me, to be you?
Well, the topic, the struggle to be me, basically it doesn't have any, let me say, hidden meaning, because at this point of my life, I was really struggling with self-identity, like who am I? And I think every young adult has that phase whereby they don't really understand themselves. And what I did in this chapter is I separated it into two parts. One is about my body, and part two is about my character. So, of course, for the body, it's the physical being of you. Now, at this time, I was struggling with my physical body. But again, at the same time, I was struggling with my character because I quite did not understand myself. I am this person, I am this person. So who am I? You could ask me, describe yourself, and I'll be like, I don't know. So basically, that's how that topic came by. How I went into myself to find myself. Who am I?
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm. So, viewers, as always, I went through chapter 3 and picked a few questions that will guide us on the discussion of this chapter 3. So, before we continue, my voice is as a little bit changed because I've had a cold, I have a flu. So if you feel that there is a change about my voice, ni sababu niko na homa kidogo, but we'll be fine. You struggled with your personal identity for a while, trying to know who you really are. Why was that? Why did it take you a while to know that?
Well, starting with the latter,
Yeah.
I don't think. I think life is a continuous learning process. Because what I am today, 5 years to come, I might not be that person. Let's say I like a certain kind of music now. 5 years, I'll be like, that's not my thing. But on the first question, um, how did I the struggle? How did I realize I have that struggle of myself? And this was when I was a first year in campus, and all my life I had been through a structured environment. By a structured environment, I mean an environment where there are rules and regulations. There are things you can do, there are things you can't do. it's black and white. I was in boarding schools. A home environment has its own rules. But now here, I think maybe 19 years old. I'm in the city by myself. I'm in the university by myself. And there was a sense of freedom. It's like no one really tells you what to do. If you want to go to class, you go. If you don't go. No one is there following up on you. So this freedom with me came with it was like a shock. Okay, so what am I supposed to do with myself? And that's when you see all this, let me say, experimenting starts. You experiment life. So you can, like, you're not supposed to do a certain thing at a certain time. So you can be doing anything. And that's where I started learning myself. Okay, let me do this and see how it goes. Let me do this and see how it goes. And that's when I started really asking myself, okay, so is the whole life going to be like this? Because I need to know what type of person I am. And that's how I decide, like, I started struggling with being myself because I didn't know myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, your struggles with identity started with physical being, your body.
Yeah.
Why why were you struggling with your body?
Um, well, at this time, you see, a woman's body.
In fact, before you continue to answer that question, on paragraph 3, page 19, there is a question that people could ask you. This, when you were
Yeah.
how did how did that make you feel?
Now, um, you see, my type of body is a big type of body. I am the big girl type of person. So I had known, because what I'm talking about at that paragraph is when it's when I was 24, I guess. So I had known for a while that I am a big girl because the revelation came few years ago. So of course, I at that point I knew, and I wasn't taking care of my body at that point, so it didn't really matter. But if I take you back to when I started struggling with my body, is when I realized I am a big girl. And when did that happen? It happened when I was in campus in first year. I have written about it, I think, maybe in the next paragraph. Yeah. So I was in UON, and it was supper time. So we were going to Klabu to buy some supper, me and my friend Fauzia. So it was dark, obviously. It was around maybe 7 p.m., 7:30-ish p.m. And as we were walking, behind me, there were a group of course, that road, like, it's full of students.
Yeah.
So there were a group of boys behind us, and they started singing this song, the video song. Girl, you're behind is the killer. So, like, I think it took me a minute to understand that they're singing about me. So when it hit that they're singing about me, like, I had so many questions. Like, what do you mean? We're literally in a dark road at 7 or 8 p.m., but you can still see that my behind is a killer. So, and is it really? Because I had never come to that realization that I have those type of curves. So I asked my friend, do you think I'm fat? And you never wambiange mtu ati you are fat. Plus your friends actually they hawakujuangi that
And
way.
actually, by the way, question, what is the difference between being fat and being plus size?
Plus size is just a better word for fat.
Okay.
Yes.
Mhm.
Because I can't say I'm a fat model. I'll say I'm a plus size model. It looks fancy. It sounds fancy. Fat has been yani imekaa nini vibaya. It has been. It just sounds bad.
So according to these boys, they had seen a fat person, not a plus size, according to even their song and the fun that they were making.
But now you see, such kind it's usually about, let me say, the way they say beauty is in the hands of the beholder. Because with my body type, there's someone who looks at me and sees me as attractive. There's someone else who looks at me and says like, hey girl, slow down on your eating. Right?
Something.
Yeah. So you can't really tell. Someone will call you fat, someone else will call you, hey, you have a very beautiful body. So at that time, I did not understand that. I was like, okay, I'm fat. So what this? So when we went back to the hostel, we were staying at Box. I looked at myself in the mirror. I remember the type of trouser I was wearing. It was this checked trousers. And I was like, is it this trouser I'm wearing that has highlighted? You know, there are some cloud clothes that highlight your body shape. So that is the day I realized, like, hey, girl, you like your body is a different type of body. Yeah. So, and that's when the struggles kick in because this is not the conventional body. Yeah. Any question around that? Or you wish you were the boys that were behind me?
Well, I think you know. Okay. So day by day, your emotions or your physical strength down. Using your own words, just like to paraphrase, you say that outside the office, there was hardly any difference between you and a piece of garbage. Why did you feel so?
So this is now after I have graduated. You know, the way I have structured the book, it's not as strange. Let me explain to the viewer because they might get a little bit confused. Why are we going back and forth? I've structured my book in a way that I start with the feelings that I was feeling at this time. Then I try to work back at how those feelings came by. So what I've just talked about is when I was in first year in campus. But at this point, the one you're asking me is just the other day after I'm finished school. I have my first job. And at that point now, I was heavily depressed. I was not taking care of my body anymore. So, and I had so many thoughts in my head. So that's why I'm saying I was struggling emotionally, which did not help my physical health because if I'm struggling emotionally, why should I care about my physical body? Yeah.
Okay. In high school is when you actually how did your body affect you in high school in whichever way did your fellow students realize that you're big or try to show you or try to mention it to you that you bigger than someone else? How was it? How did your body affect you in high school?
My body didn't affect me in high school, but I always got comments on how hideous I was. I wasn't, let me say, big in high school. I was the normal size for a 16, 17, 18-year-old girl, but I was a little bit hideous. So I had shape. Yeah. So I wasn't big, but I wasn't more than the normal teenager, but I was hideous. So it did not have, in fact, it was like a blessing. Like when someone tells you, "Hey, Liz,
Mm.
hey, you got hips." So when you're growing, that's like, okay,
A big deal.
it's good. Yeah. So I sprouted after high school.
Mhm.
So after high school, the whole body began to grow, not just the parts that grow when you are an adolescent.
Mhm.
So that's why it became a major thing in college, because that's when I realized I am bigger than the normal girl of my age. Yeah.
Back to your way to Klabu and the funny comments and you going back to the hostel. After that, how did you view yourself? How did you henceforth feel?
Mm,
Emotions zako zilikuwa triggered aje and how did that make you think about yourself and all that?
so at that point, after I realized that, it's like I became very much self aware. Self awareness is a good thing, but again, it's a bad thing, because when I didn't know that I am a plus size girl, I didn't care how I what I wore, or how I wore, what kind of trousers, what kind of tops I wore, because I was just being a girl, a normal 19-year-old girl. But now after that night, I was like, oh, I don't want to invite such kind of comments again. So I started wearing differently.
Mhm.
I will always wear longer tops that cover to the
In fact,
bottom of my.
it's the question that I wanted to ask you, how did you start carrying yourself after that? The wearing of clothes.
Yeah. So I started wearing clothes that are let me say less. They don't portray my body shape that much. Of course, I wasn't wearing like baggy dresses or anything. In fact, I stopped wearing dresses at all. I just started wearing dresses like 2 years ago. I stopped wearing dresses because now dresses they follow your body every curve, and I didn't want that. So I was wearing trousers and a long top. Trousers and a long top. The long top was to cover my
Mhm.
behind areas, so that no one could see that, or like basically to stop inviting certain comments. Because at that point now I understood that when someone looks at me, they don't just see Liz, they see the fat girl, a curvaceous girl, a plus size girl, depending on you, the beholder.
At any point, have you ever actually maybe you're passing by somewhere and you find people staring at you or someone trying to touch you, you know?
Now, when I learned that, I became aware of such situations. When you are born a girl and you reach of age, such people they're even existing up to now. Even up to now, I walk in town and someone is like, "Hey, madam," whatever, some comment. So at that point, when you become self-aware, like such things, they affect you, because um, you keep seeing, even mtu anaweza kuwa tu anakuangalia just because you passed in front of them, but for you, you are like, he's looking at me because of the size of my behind, or the size of my bust, or something like that. So yeah, because now when I was changing my wardrobe, I was thinking about such people. I don't want any comments. I don't want any someone trying to touch me or anything. So I wore in a way that the person should not feel that they need to tell me something, or to touch me, or to approach me just because of how I look.
Okay.
Yeah.
A little bit to, if I can take you back, what kind of pupil, students, and in college, kind of a person were you? Introverted, extroverted,
In college or overall?
overall?
Overall, introverted. I'm still largely introverted.
And what kind of friends did you used to make?
I grew up mostly without friends because where where do I get
Another
them?
question comes in, what is your social life? What were your social life like?
I had no social life growing up, honestly. I just started having social life in campus. And that's because of the freedom now, because the world opened up in front of me. And, you know, you can't stay in your, is it 20 feet room all day.
Mhm.
So you need to get out, you need to make friends. Then you meet people from various parts of the country, and at least akili yako inachangamka. But in primary, high school,
Mm.
in fact, in primary, it was way worse. I I was just an indoor girl, and I didn't feel bad about it. I never felt bad about it. In high school, I was now a bit um, like I could make friends. I could, but back at home, I was still introverted. I was still, but I didn't hate it.
How was your relationship with your siblings? Chana na wazazi, your brother, your
Because most of the time we were not together because of the boarding school thing. Most of us, both all of us, actually went to boarding at some point. So it wasn't a solid relationship. It was not a solid relationship. So I can't say that they were my friends.
Mhm.
Yeah, we were all just in our own world, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So chapter 3 is very small.
Hmm.
We've come to the end of the discussion of chapter 3. We ask you to get a copy of the book and get an in-depth understanding of what chapter 3 has. Thank you for watching. We welcome you to continue following us as we go into the discussion of chapter 4. Thank you so much for watching.